watch and see when China stops buying treasury bills. That's when the system is going to fail just like that. The thing that happened in 2008 with Wall Street will be easy and pretty compared to what we will see if we just continue this way. So, as a business guy, as somebody that has made stuff work my whole life financially, I'm saying let's please address it. Again, my belief is we can create jobs more than anything else. If we're going to create jobs, then you have to look at why we don't have jobs. Two things kill jobs faster than anything else. And so we've put bills in that would address those two things. Overtaxation and overregulation kill jobs fastest. If you listen to President Obama in the State of the Union, he said, we're taxing our corporations too high. We're the second highest in the world. We need to moderate that down. Since that speech, Japan lowered its corporate tax, and now we're the highest in the world. So taxation policy will drive jobs from here to other countries. And the second thing are regulations. So we introduced a bill this week. You may have seen something on TV or the newspaper. The logging industry in New Mexico used to be huge. We used to have 20,000 loggers. Today we have none. We used to have 20 or 30 mills. Today, none. It's because of the government. They passed a regulation on the spotted owl. I think we should keep the spotted owl alive, but I don't think we should have killed the jobs. And so my bill says keep the spotted owl alive in sanctuaries, leave 1,000 acres here, 2,000 there, 2,000 here, and put those 20,000 people back to work. Here's where the magic occurs. When you put someone to work, they come off welfare and they come off of unemployment. You cut this figure and you increase this figure. It's the only thing that will solve us. Nothing else will work. Both parties have been playing foolish games with our lives and with our economy. So I'm saying put our people back to work. You saw offshore, the BP. I think BP should pay 100%. That was our business. My wife and I did business. We fixed oil wells. BP made a lot of mistakes. Don't think they made them on purpose. They still made them and should be responsible. But I do not think we should have killed 100,000 jobs offshore. We killed 100,000 jobs offshore because we said you're not going to continue to drill. We have those 33 deep water platforms that cost billions to build, and those now are steaming to Africa, to South America, and to Central America. So when the president went to Brazil the other day, he talked about building their oil economy. What is the matter with building ours? When we took those 100,000 people off, this number went down, this number went up, this number went up. Understand that we're making decisions to kill our own jobs here. Our government is. So if we want to reverse it, if it's man-made, then we can reverse it, and we should. I think we can keep our environment clean. I think that we can keep our workers safe, and I think we can keep species alive and create jobs simultaneously. And if we don't do it, we have a disaster sitting out here somewhere in the future, and I think that disaster will move toward us with a very rapid occurrence as we see pieces of the equation come apart. The thing on Wall Street was where the equation's coming apart. I do not think we should have bailed out Wall Street. I don't think we should have given a penny to Wall Street. It was not the right thing to do to give taxpayer money to Wall Street. It was decided in Washington. They're kicking another can down the road. It was the wrong thing, and in fact caused us to have much more difficulties there. The questions on S-chip, the questions for Victor's son, absolutely. Those are programs that should not be cut. We should find that duplications is a good area to cut here. Fraud. We have people, this guy was on 60 Minutes, he said he's going to jail for 12 years. He was selling $400,000 per month to Medicare, $400,000 a month, and he didn't even have anything in the store. He just rented a store because he said the government will drive by to see if I got a store, but they won't stop to see if I got anything in it. $400,000 a month, fraud. And he said there are 2,000 people just like me in Miami alone. 2,000 people frauding the government here, causing this 202. Medicaid, I go to the emergency rooms and see, why are we so high on Medicaid? I hear repeatedly that 2 or 3 people come to the emergency room with the effects of taking illegal drugs, and they want the emergency room treatments right then, and it's supposed to be against the law. And so the doctor might say, no, I'm not going to sign that. Doctors tell me they will begin to scream and scream and scream. Finally, some other doctor comes from somewhere and says, give me the paper and let me sign it. We are funding behavior that is causing the destruction of the families. Illegal drugs are killing our families. Methamphetamines is rampant through this area. If we do not cure the faith part of America, the spiritual emptiness that looks so much to illegal drugs for filling that spiritual void, we have no future. Forget this. We have no work ethic. We have no cohesion. We have nothing. That's where families used to do it. And now families don't do it. You're exactly right. It is the failure in our faith and the spiritual side of America. I will guarantee that we cannot solve anything if we do not solve that. We cannot. Our founding fathers understood it and they set it up that way. Now let's go to the question. I'm sorry, it's been a little bit longer than this. This is the system as I understand it. You can agree, you can disagree, you can whatever. Let's roll. And thanks to the group that came up there just 2 weeks ago, you came up in the office and said you'd like for us to come down here, and so I see all of you here, so thank you, and students, yeah.
Thank you.
Here. So we said, yeah, absolutely. We will. We think that you've got the right, I think that this community is resilient. We've been here since day one almost from my election. We came down here and said, yeah, let's, I said, I'm not going to be big. You could see this stuff even back then. I said, I'm not going to be big on bringing lots of dollars to your town. It's not going to happen politically. They'll send it to the big cities before they send it to the small ones. But what I will do is help you every step of the way to see what we can do to see that your own town has jobs to pay taxes and doesn't get its spending too high. And so, I mean, I think we've been good with that, but let's go to questions. Let's take anything you've got. Only one rule, you can ask one question, but if you want to ask 2, wait till everybody else has asked the first question, and that's the only rule I ever have. 1, and I take 3 at a time so you know when you're coming. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, you guys.
I'm sure that you are willing and able and ready to do something for immigration. But once and for all, it is pathetic. This is unchristian. It is beyond all telling.
Yes. Back to the mom's comments about it taking too long. It does. It takes 20 years. Our office probably did as much immigration as any office in the country. I think we absolutely need immigration. Which country would not want someone who would give up everything at home? The family, their language, their culture, and come to a new place to make a better life for them. That's the sort of vitality that I believe in and am encouraged. I think it must be, number 1, legal immigration. Number 2, it needs to be orderly. But we must lower the time that it takes to get an answer. I think many people come here illegally because they say, well, I could go and raise my kids. If I just pay somebody $5,000, I could get there. It's a pragmatic decision. I can't get an answer for 20 years. I could go raise my kids and come back home. I've heard many people who've come here without documentation saying, I just want a better life for my family. And I'm going to go back home when I finish. So I think that we need some sort of guest worker program. I think, first of all, we need to secure the border and stop, because it's getting very dangerous at the border. Stop the problems. Let people come through the checkpoints. So number 1, secure the border. And number 2, fix legal immigration to where you don't wait for those 20 years. And number 3, then that leaves the pool of people who are here illegally, and I would simply ask one question. Do you want to be a citizen? If you want to be a citizen, it is my belief that you should go back to your country and get in line, because you otherwise get to move to the front of the 20-year line. If you don't want to be a citizen, then let's get you out of the shadows and you pay taxes. I think much of the anger in America is because they perceive, rightly or wrongly, that many of the people here without documentation are working without paying taxes. They're working for cash, and a lot are. Don't know if it's everybody, but the hostility would decrease to almost zero. I was down in Columbus about a month and a half ago, brought 3 representatives from the rest of the country to the border. And in Columbus, I said, how many of you are angry about illegal immigration? And 100% of the hands go up. There was basically Anglo ranching family. 100% of the hands go up. They're angry about illegal immigration. I said, how many of you would be angry if the people who are here were paying taxes and all the hands go down? Nobody would be angry if they're paying taxes in Columbus with that very conservative ranching group of people who are there. I think that's the greatest source. So my comments to our leadership are fix the problems and systematically work. You can't cure the ones who are here if you don't first stop the movement in. In other words, that's what Mr. Reagan did. He said we're going to give amnesty to 7 million people. They did. And the second step was we're going to secure the border. They did not. So now we have somewhere between 50 and 30 million. And it's causing us problems here. People who work for cash get to use the roads for free. They get to use Medicare for free if they're working for cash, Medicaid, Social Security. So if we have an orderly system, then I think we can fix it. That's my belief. Two is here. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Pearce, I want to thank you on behalf of the mayor of Anthony. He said that
Thank you for all of the service from the commissioners. Let's give all the local officials, I mean, that's a round of applause.
that you had offered your assistance in cleaning up our arroyo system. And the last time you were here, which was your last term that you served, you indicated, how important it was that the community get together and clean up your areas.
Yep.
And you had done it in your hometown.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that we're hoping to do is if we're gonna attract any kind of business, we have to do
You
that.
have to clean it up.
And so.
It has to be safe and
Thank you
clean.
for your
All right.
offer to help us.
And by the way, I should not use the name because it might be a large company with presence here. They were in my office in Washington about 2 weeks ago, and I said, you guys have a big presence down there in Anthony, you're here south of the border, the Texas border. Why don't you just lend them a forklift and lend them a backhoe and help them clean up the stuff? And I said, they got a commitment in the town to clean it up. And I said, that's the most powerful thing they can do. He said, nobody's ever brought it to my attention. This is the top guy. So somewhere here, I asked him to get with you all, single out a couple of you. So that's 2 weeks. If you don't hear anything, Victor, you know my number. Yes, sir. Give me a call. Yes, sir. And I'll see. I'll fly down to El Paso and talk to him. Yes, sir. Because I believe that companies, every town, California is running the same problem. They're just making it too uncomfortable for people to be there. And people are leaving California, so businesses leave. This number gets smaller. That number gets bigger. Every state's having the same problem. So if we take your town, if you don't have any businesses here, your number is going to be small and you'll always have a very small budget. And so the key is bringing people in, but then you got to find what attracts people. Good education, back to your comment, good education, safe streets. So the idea, you remember when we were talking about you need to take ownership of your own streets and tell the drug dealers move somewhere else. I don't want to tell them where to move. We must. You would want to believe that Washington or Santa Fe is going to help come clean up your streets, both clean up the trash and clean up the mess with drugs, and they are not. They will never come to a town this size. They will never go to a town the size of Las Cruces. They don't function. They're more about feeding themselves and the bureaucracy than they are feeding you, the people out here. Just telling you the truth as I know it, and I've seen it over and over and over. We spend so much money in this. That is a huge amount of money. And if we saw that it came out here and went to work, then that would be great. But it doesn't. It feeds Washington first. So back on the education, the average salary in the Department of Education in Washington is $100,000. We gave billions more into education, and you haven't seen $1 more come out the end of the pipeline. I will tell you, the bureaucracy soaks it up first. I would like to take the money and send it, divide it nationwide, education money, send it straight to the school districts, and let the school districts use the money, and then they could contract with the state and the federal government what they want from the bureaucracy. I think then if they had the resources, our local school boards could actually start doing a much better job.